Yeah, that was fire. So this is my game plan of what I would do if I was the Tennessee Titans. If I was the Tennessee Titans, because I've done it and I looked through my videos and I realized I didn't never do like a real true like solid breakdown of how I would rebuild. It's not putting duct tape on the side of the Titanic. It's not trying to fix everything in one off season. It would clearly be a 2-year rebuild. And this is how I would do it. If y'all not following my Facebook, if you follow the Facebook, you seen this post I had today for a 2-year rebuild, which was signing Tyler Linderbaum, center. I don't know if the Ravens will have the money to re-sign him. If they don't, the Tennessee Titans should be all over. 2-time Pro Bowler already coming into his prime. Lloyd Cushenberry out again this week with a foot injury coming from Achilles. Corey Levin. If they're not missing a beat from Corey Levin to Cush, this might be a situation where you go out and get the free agent center. You try to go after Brees Hall at running back. Tony Pollard is gone. Ridley is gone. Snead is gone. And you re-sign Jahad Ward, Corey Levin, SJD, Elam. If he plays well these last 5 weeks, he didn't get a chance to get on the field last week. He hadn't been there long enough. But I think they should slap him out there. I don't see why. Baker Jr., who's been the best of the backup defensive backs at corner. And Udo, because he can swing, him and Crenshaw Dixon, that gives you some depth behind it. You don't have to run out trying to fight for depth. And then if you could move Dan Moore Jr., Cushenberry, or Levis, even if you got to eat a little contract on Moore or Cush, if you could get anything back for those two guys, I would. And when Levis comes back healthy, you should be able to get good value on a draft pick. He's the first pick in the second round 3 years ago. And then I would try to extend Skoronski and Jeff Simmons because they are the staples of what you want to do up front. And then I went through a mock draft of a trade back similar to the Panthers Bears trade without getting a player, because the Bears got this and a player, 1,000-yard receiver in DJ Moore. But if I traded back, Arvell Reese obviously would slide into the edge opposite of Femi in year 2. My second pick that I had taken in that first round would be a little controversial, but I would have taken Caden Proctor. And my reason being is if I could find a partner like we did with Dennis Daly and some of those guys that were way worse that we was able to move, just go young, just go full youth movement. You have a center guard triangle where you have this left side of your line should be able to run the football left. You put Jackson Slater in at right guard because you got some veteran right guards that could come in. And then J.C. Latham, year 3, second year back at right tackle, fully healthy, no hip injury. I think you should be fine with having solid depth behind that. My next pick, Denzel Boston, physical outside receiver, would be my number 1. Chris Johnson from San Diego State. Looked at a lot of defensive backs. I really like his tape. He would be in. I would match him up with Baker Jr., and that would be my left side of my cornerback. Brazel from UT would be my second receiver, moving A.O. Monitor to the 4, Chimdike in the slot, and then I'd have Restrepo as my fifth receiver. I try to keep James Prochet as my practice squad guy, as my sixth receiver, and then in the late rounds, if I found some undrafted free agent, I'd be working my practice squad that way. I'd clear it out. This is the time to clear it out. Everett from Georgia and Perkins Jr. from LSU. That corner I would match up Georgia's best corner with Elam and Michael Robinson. And I just have a dogfighting camp with my outside corners because Marcus Harris is going to be your nickel corner. That would give us a much deeper room. I don't think that Tariq Woolen or Alontae Taylor, any of the big name corners coming out, will come into a rebuild. Even if it's more money, I think they go to a contender for their second contract.
Let me teach
and
you
take
how
a
to
little
buy.
less money for a better situation. I think the core of this team needs to be built through the draft. Now, if you have a first round talent like Elam, that's a rotational guy, a guy that may start day one, but you already got guys behind that you want to take over those spots, I think that's the best case because you don't have to spend a lot of money, and it's not a long-term deal you be tying into. Perkins Jr. will be playing behind Cody Barton. LSU linebacker guys is good all around. Eli Stowers, tight end. I may have dropped a video this morning about what I think would happen with Chig. I do think that they should try to offer him an extension, a team-friendly extension early. And if he takes himself to the market, I don't have no problem with Chig going out and testing the waters and getting more money in a different situation because Gunnar Helm is probably going to be tight end one next year regardless. I'd love to see some loyalty in them, at least offer to extend him early before we get to the offseason. But if that doesn't happen, then you talk about putting Eli Stowers in at that move tight end position, and with DMR still being in the contract the next year. And then Raleek Brown, running back, Arizona State. Mix that with Breece Hall. Tajay's on his last year. And then you got Kalel Mullins. I like to see what we got in him, but I don't know just yet. That would be Raleek Brown replacing Chestnut. And then when Tajay's next year is up, then you be moving Raleek Brown with Breece Hall and Kalel Mullins. That would be a solid backfield. Really like his tape. Taft, safety out of Texas, will be behind Hook. I think that'll be the key to let Xavier Woods try to deal him if you could. He's got a year left. If not, it's not a lot to eat that you would have a bigger, younger safety with Kendall Brooks, Jared Reed probably being your practice, and Mike Brown being your practice squad guys, your rotational safeties. And then you have a two first round picks in the future, plus your own. You talking about having 3 first round picks in 27 with this, and then having a lot of cap space to maybe pick up some free agents and supplemental positions. If they come available, the Titans cannot be out here reaching for big name free agents because they've done that in the past. Titans have done that where they've thrown $120 million at Cheeto and Snead and it didn't work. They've thrown big money at Cushenberry, Dan Moore, and Zietler in free agency and it didn't work. Titans got to get young guys. They got to get young guys coming into their second contract or 1-year deal, supplemental guys, and just really rebuild and have a 2-year window through the draft of this offseason, free agent signing period, plus the draft, a coaching hire, and then in 27 coming in with those 3 first round picks, plus what you get back from Will Levis, potentially like Xavier Woods or Dan Moore or any of those, Cushenberry, if you was able to move any of those guys and get, even if it's a 6th or 7th round pick that you could use to move around in the draft. If you had this draft and that next draft with those extra draft picks and free agent period going into year 3 in a new stadium with Cam, if you could not win with that, it may be time to just scratch everything and sell the team. Like, because you couldn't ask for much more than that. Because you wouldn't have any big time contracts that had you tied in the positions that you couldn't move around. Young guys that have bought into the culture, a solid 53 man roster. You can't put one free agent or one drafted player that can fix a bad culture, turnover in the front office, head general manager and head coach and coaching staffs all the way around, and on a 53 man roster. That's half of the 53 man roster now is practice squad and waiver wire guys. So we talking about a team that traded or lost half of their original starters. When you go across the board, when you talk about Calvin Ridley, one of my friends said, "Hey, why don't y'all trade Calvin Ridley? He's gonna be a 30-year-old receiver coming off multiple injuries that is gonna be getting paid $28 million next year." So that's not something easy to trade or easy to move around. So when you think about Tyler Lockett walking off, Calvin Ridley not being there, when you think about the misplace with Dan Moore, Lloyd Cushenberry being hurt as much as he's played, the Kevin Zeitler experiment not working out, you just go down through the roster, and then when you get on defense and say L'Jarius Sneed, nobody could have guessed he would have got indicted for an alleged drive-by shooting. Cheeto getting cut, Jarvis being traded to the Jets over personality situations, and then you watch Roger McCreary, which we all felt like they may move on from Roger, being traded to the Rams, and he's now on IR for the Rams. And Draymond Jones being traded to the Ravens. It's a lot of turnover, a lot of move. Femi being on IR. You just look across the board. Quandre Diggs asking to be released. Like you have a lot of people that was in your rotation when this season started that's no longer part of the football team, and it's not going to be there next year. So Titans got to do a good job with this 2-year rebuild. If they listen to me, Tennessee Titans can compete and contend. By the time they get that new stadium, Cam Ward could be looked at as one of the guys in the AFC and the NFL in totality. But this is not going to be quick. It's not nothing you could just slap duct tape on and fix.